Thank you for joining us today here at Jet 14. My name is Whitney Warren, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Michael Swanson, a junior here at Joplin High School. He's got some pretty cool things going on, especially outside of school, but we want to get to know what he's doing his junior year, and then some of the very productive things he's got going on, especially in the summertime. And so, Michael, how are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So, tell me about your junior year. What all are you involved in here at school?
It's going well. It's going pretty crazy. I'm in student council. National Honor Society Link Crew is a big factor. Just a lot of clubs. Trying to keep up with them all, but it's going well.
Absolutely. Well, that right there would probably take up a lot of your time, just in those things that you're in. But you've also got another endeavor that you're in, and it's a business.
It is.
And how did this come about? When did you start? Tell me the details.
Well, this summer was my fourth summer with the business. 4 years ago, my dad suggested, well, we were talking about job ideas, what I could do for a job in the future. He always told me, I'm going to be paying for my own car, I better be getting some money. And so we were talking about what we could do, and I kind of shot down a lot of the ideas of, well, I really don't want to work here, I'm too young to work here, So he said, well, what if you were to tutor some kids in math or maybe even reading? You're pretty good in math. Why don't you help, by sharing your knowledge of that and helping some kids out? And first I was pretty hesitant about it. I thought, well, that's probably a pretty nerdy thing to do. I'm not sure if I want to do that. But eventually, one of my brother's friends, he was having some trouble with math, and I said, well, you know what, let's just try it. So he was my first student, and it went all right. It was a little rough in the beginning. I wasn't really sure what to do.
Sure.
A little nerve-wracking. This would have been back in 8th grade, 7th grade maybe. And so it was a little bit nerve-wracking because probably one of my biggest reservations about it was, what if I teach him the wrong thing? What if I do something wrong and he's messed up for life with multiplication tables? This is going to be a disaster,
Yeah.
But it turned out fine. And eventually I expanded into beginning reading. I had one girl that was just really struggling with her reading and her phonics, and so we used the Hooked on Phonics program and went through it, and she did really well with it. And so that was a lot of fun, really.
Oh, I bet.
It was really that was probably more nerve-wracking than the math was, because I thought, you know what, she's gonna have to read for the rest of her life, and if I mess up on something, she's not gonna be able to read. It's gonna be a tragedy,
Oh, man.
But it worked out fine, and so I ended that summer with 3 students, and I was just doing it out of my house. Just from my living room table, and so it worked out all right. And then the next summer, I moved into my father's office over on Connecticut Street, his Edward Jones building. This would have been the old building, the smaller building that he used to have.
Yes.
And so he had an extra room back there, and he said, well, you know what, why don't you come and you can do it in my office, and just kind of do it out of there and see how you like it. I said, all right, well, I guess we'll try it. Just because the house, it's all right, but it's a little bit odd for those that I really don't know that well to come to my house. And so I kind of set up my office in his office, and I felt like a big shot. I got my own desk and everything.
Absolutely.
And so it was a lot of fun. I expanded more into the math area. I was kind of limited on the reading area. I kind of kept with the beginning reading. But the math area, I ended up with, that summer I believe it was about 8 students by the end of the summer. So I went from 3 to 8 students. Cool. And then during the course of that school year, I was talking with my mom and trying to figure out ways I could reach more students, because I was running into the issue of time. I'm doing students one-on-one, and I wasn't able to really reach that many kids. And it was kind of frustrating for me, because I really wanted to help out more kids, but it was the point of where I couldn't fit in many more. So I thought, well, what if I did a group class? What if I did, like a small group, not like a big class, but a smaller group? And I thought, well, what subject could I really do that with? I couldn't really do a whole lot with math in that area, because that's more of a one-on-one thing. And I thought, well, what about science? Seems like we could do something with science. and kind of help make science a little bit more fun for students. And so the third summer, I started my group science classes. I started with a class of 8 students, I believe, and we went through some experiments that I found online, and we started pretty simple. We started with dry ice and kind of took off from there. We met on a weekly basis for an hour and a half.
Wow.
And by the end of that summer, I had filled 2 classes with students, and we ended up with 20 students that summer. And then this last summer is my 4th summer, and again, we did the science classes, marketed it a lot heavier, and tried to get more students involved with it. And by the end of last summer, we had 38 kids.
Whoa.
So that was about 4 classes worth of students.
How
and so
awesome is that?
Yeah, it was
wow.
fun.
And so we were talking a little bit earlier, and you have an assistant, correct?
I do. Miss Mackenzie Erisman, she helped me out this summer, and she kind of helps to make sure that I keep on track and kind of helps shuffle the stuff for me. She did a great job, and I really appreciate her help. But yes.
Not a lot of juniors can say they have an assistant. That's really cool.
Yes, well, I quickly figured out, I said, I just can't do this alone. I need somebody to help me set up, clean up, and during the lesson, trying to keep everything organized. Because one of my main focuses is safety. Both Mackenzie and myself, we're both certified in safety. Laboratory safety, to make sure that the kids have the best experience and the safest experience. And so one of those things I really needed to make sure was safe was that if you have stuff left over from one experiment on the table, then it could create an issue for the following experiments. If you've got liquid all over the table, sometimes it gets on the floor. Having kids fall over the floor, that's not fun.
Yes.
And so occasionally it will get messy enough where the water or something will get on the floor, and so she's really helpful to be there to help clean it up and allow me to continue with the class and make sure that they get the most out of the hour and a half that they're there with me. But
now,
yes.
what grades do you target?
Well, with the reading and the math tutoring, I go all the way down to kindergarten and up from there. And with the science classes, I start with 3rd grade and then on up to about 8th graders. Every now and then I'll have a few students that are kind of the exception, that are a little bit more advanced for that grade, so I'll bump them up a little bit. But for the most part, it's from 3rd grade to 8th grade.
Very cool. Well, I can only imagine the impact you're having on such young kids, and especially being a role model to show them that you can have your own business even as a junior in high school.
Yes.
Now, one other thing we had talked about previously is you're going to be at one of the schools tomorrow, I believe. And where will you be, and what are you going to be doing?
I'll be at McKinley Elementary School. I'm going to be doing some science experiments for their Halloween party. I know we don't get those in high school, but they still have those for the elementary schools. And so I had one of the mothers from the students that I tutor, her daughter was in my classes this summer. She said, you know what, could you come and do some experiments for our class? I'm the room mom and we need something to do. And so I said, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to. So I'll be there tomorrow. We'll be doing some fun experiments with them, I think. So
that's awesome. Well, thank you, Michael, for your
thank
time.
You so much.
I appreciate it. And stay tuned at Jet 14 to check out some more student interviews that we'll be having along the way. Have a good day. Thank you.